Set, go.
I want you guys to take a look around you. Look at your peers. Look at the people in this room. Turn to your neighbor, maybe give them a high five, ask them how they're doing. Thank you. Perfect. All right. I want you to ask yourselves, how do you see the people in this room? Are these your fellow students? Are these acquaintances, people you haven't really talked to that much? Or are they your friends? Are they your best friends? Today I want to discuss with you, how do we see others? And how, through seeing others correctly, we can find fulfillment and success. How I define seeing others is through empathy. I consider myself an empath. I feel very deeply when I have conversations with other people. I usually hide it well. I call it my middle school conditioning to not show a lot of emotion, but I'm working on it. I have a quote here from Stephen Covey about empathy. I think he can explain it a little bit better than I can. It says that empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. I want you to think of an experience where you have been empathetic towards someone, where you have needed to comfort someone in need, and you have truly felt what they are going through. Now, empathy helps us develop connections, true connections. Here at Aria Academy, we have been able to make long-lasting connections. I hope long-lasting connections. Every week we meet mentors. We work with people and we develop these connections, either small or big, to improve and to develop what we want to do for the rest of our lives. Have another quote, because I'm good. And it says, our success in life depends not on how we see ourselves, but on how well we see and understand others. It is in those deeper connections that true progress is made. Through our connections, through our friendships, that is where we see progression. Now, connections in the workspace. We talked about this a lot last week. Our network. Through networking, we can be able to find what we really want to do. We can be able to recognize our career goals and be able to develop an intricate web of people we can turn to for different specific needs in our lives. Through networking, we can not only meet mentors, but also clients, business partners, and find opportunities that we never would have imagined. Now, networking, we've learned, is not what you know, but who you know. But I would argue that it is not who you know, but how well you know the people around you. I would like to tell a story about a town, a little town in the middle of nowhere, kind of like Aria Academy, up in the mountains of an ancient world. Now, in this ancient world, people trade through merchants. Merchants are people who trade different things. That's how you get what you need. And this town was so far removed from the city area that merchants would have to go a long distance in order to get the beautiful sculptures, the beautiful pottery that this ancient village provided. The quality that couldn't be found anywhere else. So these merchants would go to this village and return empty-handed, because this village was very traditional, and gossip throughout the city began to start about how stubborn these people were and how they refused to share their goods. Now there's this one merchant who decided, we'll see about that. And he went to this village, and instead of what the other merchants did, he decided that he was going to observe. And he stayed for a couple of weeks and watched the people. He connected with them, and he talked with them. He learned their customs, he helped them, and he learned what they really needed, which was more durable tools, which was specific foods that weren't local. This merchant later returned with what he was willing to trade, which wasn't the fancy items or precious materials that the other merchants were trying to offer in return for the pottery and sculptures that this village made. But he learned to understand and observe their needs. He was very open-minded and changed his perspective and the perspective of others. Now I want to talk a little bit about this drawing here. This is called Relativity. It is a piece made by an artist, a graphic artist named M.C. Escher. Now M.C. Escher was an artist who likes to experiment with perspective. He used a lot of math in his art, not something that I like to do, but something he was very good at. And it was very new and novel for its time. This piece shows 3 different perspectives. And now, I know that we all have individual perspectives. We all have different things, different mindsets that we can share with each other. And through truly connecting and looking out and seeing other people's perspectives, connecting with them, empathizing with them, we will be able to broaden our perspectives and truly learn about each other and our different cultures and personalities and become stronger and smarter people. Another quote by Stephen Covey. To genuinely understand someone's perspective is to gain an invaluable advantage. It allows you to anticipate needs, resolve conflicts, and create solutions that resonate, all of which are essential for personal and professional success. To truly understand someone's perspective is to gain an invaluable advantage. Now, once we learn to accept each other's perspectives, we need to recognize our own. We need to be self-aware. We need to realize where our own judgments are coming from, where our true core beliefs, where they stand. Now, I think I'm decently self-aware. And I know myself enough that I love to laugh. I love learning with people. I love talking to people. I like making new friends. But sometimes I'm occasionally like this. It can be easy to judge people quickly. Now, I think I'm a decent judge of character, but there was one time a couple of years ago on my mission where I was serving with two of my friends, now friends, spoiler alert, two wonderful sister missionaries who would goof off and would make jokes during important meetings and laugh at leadership. And at the time, I thought that was very disrespectful. It probably still is. Don't do that. But I quickly saw them as disobedient and wrong for the way that they looked outwards towards things that I considered were important or undeserving of what they were saying. Now, there was one day where I had to be with another companionship because my companion had to go to a leadership meeting, and I was left to choose who I would stay with for the day. There were a couple of sister missionaries who I could have stayed with, who I knew very well, had served with throughout my entire mission, and who were more quiet and shy and sweet people. But I prayed about this decision, and I thought, I don't know these two sisters very well, and I don't really like them. So I should probably spend more time with them. So I decided to spend the day with them, and I discovered that they were truly joyous about the work, and that's why they loved to laugh. That's what they were really thinking when they were doing things that I deemed disrespectful. We learned to truly connect, and I believe that I'm supposed to be done and I don't know what to say. I believe that when we go through these experiences and we truly see others as we're meant to, when we're empathetic, when we build our network, and when we try to be more self-aware and change our perspectives, then that is when we will be fulfilled. That is when we will see success in our lives. Thank you.